All right, so a lot of people have requested that I put Chatfish 1 up against Chatfish 2. Obviously, Chatfish 2 is a lot stronger. As we saw, Chatfish 1 was struggling to beat Martin, and Chatfish 2 is somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100 elo, at least compared to chess.com's bots. But nevertheless, I want to see how they do against each other, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Usually when you put bots up against each other, you do several different openings, and I thought to have a little bit of fun with it, we're going to do 4 games today, and we are using the most popular opening move from both Chatfish 1 and Chatfish 2. And of course, Chatfish 1 loved these early knight moves. I think I went for knight c3 more often than knight f3, so that's what I picked for that. And of course, this queenside pawn for Chatfish 2. So the 4 games are going to be both versions of Chatfish playing in these 2 positions, 1 game with the white pieces, 1 game with the black pieces for each. I also ran some more openings, not real openings necessarily, but I ran some stats on every single opening 2-square pawn move for white, and I'll share the results of that at the end of the video. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stay tuned. I will say that it wasn't a complete sweep for Chatfish 2. I'll explain some of that later as well. I also made slight modifications to the Chatfish 1 and Chatfish 2 code. Now they understand 3-fold repetition, and the position will automatically evaluate as 0 if it's been repeated 3 times. So we will hopefully be seeing some decisive games. The only time we'll see repetition is if every other move that isn't 3-fold repetition is a negative evaluation. And since Chatfish 1 and Chatfish 2 have completely different code, there might be some times when we see that, but otherwise we will be seeing a lot of checkmates today. But yeah, anyways, let's just get right into the first game. So Chatfish 1, of course, loves to get both knights out right away. I think these openings will be somewhat expected. We of course see this fianchetto from Chatfish 2, and now the knight loving to get into the center, a bit overextended. We see Chatfish 2 attack it with his own knight, but of course Chatfish 1 does not want to go for the trade because that means losing a central knight. Chatfish 2 loves it though. Now we see more development, getting this bishop into the center. The knight not wanting to be captured, instead attacks this bishop. Queen comes up, grabbing some more control over squares, which I believe both bots like. But something I didn't even realize, even though it's strikingly obvious, this bishop is hanging. So apparently controlling these squares and having this attack on the knight was more important than the 3 material of the bishop. Queen slides to not safety. It does get a fork, which is nice for it. Not sure exactly why Chatfish 1 is leaving this hanging, but Chatfish 2 does not see it, perhaps because it likes the fact that it's attacking a hanging queen, but it doesn't know that capturing it is good. Chatfish 1 makes this move, now defending, keeping this from being captured. Gets attacked by a pawn. This normally would be a really good move, of course putting pressure on the pinned piece, but instead we see Chatfish 1 go for this fork. We saw this several times. Of course, queen captures, this queen's still hanging, and Chatfish 1 gets the extra 0.5 points for castling. Now finally, interestingly enough, Chatfish 2 takes the free queen, gets recaptured, and we see a castle from Chatfish 2, which I was actually really surprised to see in the actual Chatfish 2 video, because we didn't give it any points for castling. So it just naturally knows to get some king safety, which is nice. Bishop comes out, of course this is hanging. Will we see Chatfish 2 capture? We do. King moves up, Chatfish 2's king moves out of the way. We see it go into the corner. I don't think we did anything to cause this. I don't know why it's doing that, but hey, it's nice and safe. And Chatfish 1's doing the opposite. Very interesting. We see Chatfish 1's king in the center and Chatfish 2's about as safe as it could be. And this is actually a checkmate. Wow. I don't think I would have found this in a real game. Let me see. It's just so complicated having all these squares covered so perfectly. That's a beautiful checkmate that Chatfish 2 found. So that's already 1-0 for Chatfish 2, winning with the black pieces with, I believe this was, yeah, both bots' preferred openings. We had Chatfish 1 playing Chatfish 1's opening and Chatfish 2 playing Chatfish 2's opening. Now we're going to switch the colors, so they'll be playing a little bit outside of their comfort zone, and we'll see how they adapt to that. All right, we see Chatfish 2 now, instead of going for the fianchetto, of course, because this bishop would not have access to this diagonal, now it goes with d3. We, of course, see a knight come out for Chatfish 1. Another interesting bishop move. I don't know why it would want to bring the bishop there specifically, as opposed to any of these other bishop moves. Very strange. We see another knight move for Chatfish 1, and now we're going to see a fianchetto, very likely at least. We see the pawn move. Chatfish 1 bringing this bishop all the way out, which is strange. We do see the fianchetto, not a capture, instead just giving up a bishop for free. Chatfish 2 takes it. Now Chatfish 1 getting a central knight, but that is hanging 2 different ways. It gets taken by the bishop. Pawn attacks, gets taken. Queen comes up, does not capture. Good thing it didn't, obviously. But I'm not really seeing the point of this move. There is a knight hanging. Chatfish 2 takes it. Now the queen getting very up in this position. All these pieces are defended, so there's really nothing that Chatfish 1 can do with this queen move. Chatfish 2 attacks the queen. We could see a queen trade. We don't. Instead, the queen is sliding back. Not exactly a safe move, obviously. We will likely see, we don't see the bishop take. Instead, this is another checkmate that I had missed. Again, I'm not seeing these checkmates today. I'm in commentator mode and not chess playing mode. But yeah, very simple mate in 1. And Chatfish 2 beats Chatfish in its own opening, sort of. That brings the score to 2-0. Now we're going to swap the colors of the opening moves. So we will see white playing this opening pawn move and black playing this opening knight move. All right, so this is now Chatfish 1 playing with Chatfish 2's opening as white, and Chatfish 2 playing with Chatfish 1's opening as black. We see an opening knight move for Chatfish 1, not completing the fianchetto. That's a strange one. Already Chatfish 2 bringing the rook onto the b file, losing queenside casting rights, but I guess that's okay. Second knight move, of course. Now going for a fianchetto. And we saw this move with Chatfish 1 as black as well, getting the bishop out here early. Of course, we see the fianchetto. Now the bishop coming up. Very strange. Gets attacked by a pawn. Slides out of the way. Chatfish 1 being nice and safe for once. Not sure the point of this pawn move. We see some knight aggression, taking control of a central square still. And this is a fork, technically, which Chatfish 1 likes. Gets attacked by a pawn. It doesn't quite move to safety, but we do see a fork again. And yeah, Chatfish 2 knows the take. We see the same pawn move from both Chatfishes. I don't know what this exactly is about. Now this pawn push attacks this knight. We see this bishop slide up. The capture doesn't happen. Instead, pushing this pawn another square. Weird that it didn't go for 2 at once. We see Chatfish 1 do that at least. Although this is kind of, yeah, this is hanging. Can't take back the knight takes. Chatfish 2 does play it. And Chatfish 1 thinks it's safe to do. Chatfish 2 knows to take the free queen. Now the bishop gets attacked, and Chatfish 2 takes the bishop with a fork on the rook. King comes up, does not capture the rook though. Both these Chatfishes hate taking these free rooks. I don't know what it is. Chatfish 1's bishop gets attacked. King comes up attacking the knight, which is, I mean, a fair play. It'll end up being a trade. Instead, Chatfish 2 slides out of the way. Chatfish 1 does not, giving up potentially a free bishop. In fact, Chatfish 2 does take it. Chatfish 1 getting some more development. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn again. Some more quiet moves, it looks like. Some pawns coming in. This knight getting itself into the action, it looks like. This might be the part of the game where we see a bunch of pawn moves. Chatfish 2 again with an unprompted castle. Maybe not the safest, but I guess white does not have a queen, so it's not a huge deal. Chatfish 1, of course, does not know to take advantage of it. Gives up a free pawn instead. 2 pawns to be precise. Chatfish 2 does not capture. Instead, moving this knight over here for some reason. So Chatfish 1 gets to take a pawn. Black does not take back, instead attacking this bishop, which is now hanging. Pawn pushes. Knight does take the bishop. So there's a menacing pawn, but there's absolutely nothing defending it. More pawn pushes. Queen does take the pawn, which is nice. With check, I just realized. Now this knight's coming under attack. It gets defended by Chatfish 2. Pawn pushes. Very interesting. Yeah, double attack. Chatfish 1 might be winning material here if he knows what to do. Maybe not. I am mistaken. Yeah, this pawn's not defended, of course. So the pawn gets captured by Chatfish 2. King just comes up. And is this... No, it's not quite checkmate. Unless there's this move. I did not see the knight here. It is, in fact, checkmate. I'm missing these. These are very, very interesting checkmates. So this knight defending this queen covers all of these squares. Of course, yeah, nothing checking other than this queen. And Black's own pieces create this mating net or whatever. This very common pattern that we usually see with white pieces, I believe. Or, you know, like the same color as the king. Black doing that all on its own. Chatfish 2 is a mastermind, it looks like. So it goes up 3-0, and we're going to go into the final game where we will see Chatfish 2 in its comfort zone with the white pieces. So I don't know if Chatfish 1 can really do much here, but we will see. Okay, so we're very likely to see the fianchetto. We, in fact, do. Knight comes up. Double fianchetto, double knight moves is looking like, but the fianchetto doesn't actually come through. Instead, Chatfish 2 bringing its knight to the rim. Very interesting decision. Pawn comes up. So this knight is now under attack. Of course, it's defended. The knight comes up, now attacking this pawn in the center. Queen comes up to attack the knight. Now we see the second fianchetto come through. Pawn pushes, is defended. So Chatfish 1 actually has quite a strong center here. Only problem potentially being this queen is not really the safest. Oh, and the knight's hanging. I forgot about this. Yeah, this pawn push leaves this knight hanging. I'm not really looking at these hanging pieces very much. So yeah, Chatfish 2 already up a full knight. Bishop comes out. Knight again to the rim. Perhaps that's because the knight can now attack this square, and it's leaving this bishop able to attack the center as well. Maybe Chatfish 2 likes that part of it. See a castle for Chatfish 1, and there's actually a pretty big battery here. Bishop simply slides back, gets attacked by that bishop. Trade happens, but Chatfish 1 does not take back, instead electing, I guess, actually, no, yeah, it was defended by this bishop, so Chatfish 2 just won another clean piece. And Chatfish 1 trying to win it back, it looks like. This knight now coming to the center, attacking the queen. Queen just takes the bishop, which will allow the knight to capture. So, oh, does not get captured. Looks like perhaps Chatfish 2 mouse slipped and thought that the rook was the castling move. This does protect the rook, however, which is under attack. Of course, the better way to do that would have been just to take. Chatfish 2 simply slides back, now only up one piece. The queen slides to safety, gets attacked by a pawn to safety again. Queen comes up attacking this knight. Rook comes up in direct line of sight to the knight. Knight doesn't take the rook though, instead to electing to take the hanging knight here. Another hanging pawn attacking a knight. Chatfish 2 does take it, attacks the queen. Chatfish 1 does not defend the queen, so Chatfish 2 takes the free queen, of course, not even capturing back. Brings his bishop out with no real purpose. Now this is a check, forcing the king to move. Moves there. I have a feeling we're going to see a checkmate pretty soon. Knight comes back towards the center, attacking the rook. Knight gets attacked with no real threat. Chatfish 2 just takes the rook instead of dealing with this hanging knight. Chatfish 1 takes the free knight. Now Chatfish 2 attacks a bishop. We see a pawn capture. This pawn's getting pretty close to promotion, although of course neither Chatfish really likes to promote, so I'm not sure exactly what we'll see there. We see Chatfish taking the pawn. I think Chatfish 2 not only likes having their own pawns up the board, but they don't like allowing Black's pawns to be up the board. So capturing this strong pawn. Now Chatfish 1 just keeps pushing. Queen comes out of the way. This bishop's still hanging. We see more pushes. Capturing again the strong pawn instead of taking a free bishop. We see a king move. Now this hanging bishop finally falls. King comes in towards the center. And this is looking really close to checkmate. Is there? I don't think there is a checkmate in one. Chatfish 2 finds a check with the knight. King comes over to here, and surely there's some checkmate. Knight comes here. Okay, still not checkmate, I don't believe. King slides over, and queen comes here. Still not checkmate. King comes up to e7. Oh, there must be something. It's so close. Queen captures here. Still not checkmate, although the king not having a great time. Only 2 legal moves. Finds the one that goes closer to the center, which is interesting. Now we see bishop captures pawn. Not really helping, although, I mean, obviously it's great to have these extra squares cut off for checkmating chances. We see a pawn move. Actually, that's not even quite stalemated, so we could have seen a king move even, but we didn't. Now the queen comes to d5. Still not checkmate. King simply slides out of the way. Now we see bishop to f6. And is this one? No, it's still not checkmate. King can come back here, or here for that matter. We see the king slide back to e8. And surely, yeah, this is checkmate in 1. Or this, it looks like. Yeah, this is also checkmate in 1. Chatfish 2 found this one instead. And finally, after a long series of probably having mate in just 1 or 2 moves, Chatfish 2 finally plays it and wins the series in the themed openings 4-0. And so now I'll reveal that actually in the 16 games that were played, we played every single 2-pawn opening move for white just to get a different spread of results, because both the Chatfishes are fairly deterministic. They'll play the same moves every time. The only time that they won't is when multiple moves are tied for the top spot. It will pick one at random. So I only played 16 games with the same 8 opening moves, just swapping colors, A4 through H4. And we did see a couple of draws. It was 11 wins for Chatfish 2 and 5 draws, making the score of that 2.5 for Chatfish 1 and 13.5 for Chatfish 2, making the total score 2.5 to 17.5. So of course, other than these weird threefold situations, Chatfish 2 absolutely obliterates Chatfish 1. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys are enjoying the Chatfish videos. I'm having a lot of fun making these. There will be a Chatfish 3 at some point in the not too distant future. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're not already. Also, huge thanks to my channel members. If you'd like to support the channel and are able to, I'd really appreciate it if you considered becoming a channel member. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.